Hello and welcome to the channel. And for today's video, we are going to check out this custom of the Marvel Legends X-Men 97 Goblin Queen, aka Madelyne Pryor. So, for those who saw the series in Disney Plus, know that during the first episode, we discover that Jean Grey is pregnant. However, if you've read the comics, then you know the storyline is that that's not actually Jean Grey, but rather a clone of Jean Grey, created by Mr. Sinister, whose idea was to create a child, and I'm sorry, to have Scott and Jean have a baby whose power he would then be able to control for nefarious reasons. I guess the idea is that both Jean's and Scott's powers combined would form like the ultimate baby. I don't recall the exact plot point or the reasoning why Mr. Sinister wanted uh, their particular baby. But in the end, um, clone Jean, aka Madelyne Pryor, gives birth to the baby. The baby turns out to be spoiler, turns out to be Cable. Cable then comes back from time and yada yada yada. Anyway, the figure that was released originally in the line by Hasbro was, you could say, a toned down version of the original Goblin Queen. Give me just 1 second. Okay, so for comparison, this is how we got the Goblin Queen for the X-Men 97 line. Let's see how long it takes me to get her to stand, because it is a hassle when they gave these little tiny feet to these figures. Well, I'll just hold it up just so you can see the comparison between one and the other. So you can see more. One is, you could say PG-13, because it shows some skin. But the other one is definitely a little more risque, and that is based off of the original design from, I believe, Mark Silvestri may have designed the original costume. I'm not sure who came up with the original. I'm putting an image right here. The original Goblin Queen, and how she, was depicted during I believe, the Inferno storyline. So yeah, her look was definitely something that I guess you could say fit the era of the 80s, or even into the 90s. But now, as you saw, they toned her down quite a bit. So, okay. So yeah. So how did I did this custom? Basically, all that I used were balloons. I used um, I used two type of balloons. I used these really medium size, I guess you could say small size balloons. And the other type that I used were the super thin long ones. So the way that I used the balloons for this custom is I used the long balloons for her long thigh high boots, and for the long sleeves of her top. The way that I did, let me see if I have some fodder parts. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I have this little fodder piece that I'm working on. So anyway, basically what I did for the boots, so I used the long balloon. What I did is I cut a tiny hole at the tip of the balloon, obviously at the sealed end. I cut a tiny hole just so that I would be able to thread through the plug for the ankles, right? So, and then I just stretched this. I stretched out the rubber balloon or vinyl or whatever the balloons are made of, and or latex. Yeah, it's latex. Sorry. So I used the latex, and then I just slowly, I cut to a certain length, and then I tried to roll it up as much as I could so that I could fit it at the end of the ankles. That way, because unless I could find the right the pieces to construct the custom. For instance, I didn't have I probably would have used this custom because she had black, pure black pieces. Because the custom that I used for her was half the the original Goblin Queen, mostly the face, the cape, and the feet, and then for the body itself, I used the Lilith. No, not the Lilith. Yes, the Lilith midsection and legs, and then the top is from the 2-pack of the Crystal and the Black Knight. No, not the Crystal. I'm forgetting her name. Um, I'll post an image. I'm forgetting of the name of the character. But her, she came with like a good cleavage, you could say. But the thing is that the top portion of the upper diaphragm was all paint. I'm sorry, the plastic color was skin tone, and all I did was just remove the paint, and just added my own paint on top of it. But basically, removed the paint to preserve the skin tone color of the plastic, and added my own paint on top just to give it a different tone. So that's the recipe for this figure. So anyway, the idea was using the balloon to plug through the bottom of the ankles all the way to the top, as you can see, was to hide the hinge from the Lilith body parts that I used, because her legs were silver and all of that. So even though I did repaint the parts, some of the paint was not sticking properly to the hinge. So this was my solution, to just cover it up with the rubber balloon or latex balloon. And then to get the tattered look at the ends of the thigh highs, because in the comic that's how she's depicted. I simply cut off the ends at different points and distinct areas, and then I just stretched out the balloon and have it rip naturally as it would, And then I'll show you a close up in just one second. The thing is, I believe, to give the impression that it's flexible. Well, I mean, it is flexible material, but all one piece, but it's actually two pieces of rubber. I actually had to end up using the top part of one of these balloons from the thigh downwards, and then using the thin long balloon from the ankle to above the knee. So I'm going to show you. There's a part where you can actually see, about how tight it is. There's like a line from the balloon that's for the upper half of the boot. But it all blends together because of the folding of the boots. You could say that they're all seamless, and it looks like one piece. And for the arms, for the top, and the little skimpy bikini, I used obviously the larger end of the balloon of the small size, medium size balloon, or however you want to call it. It's basically, I just cut off the rounded part of the balloon, and then slid it on top of her. Again, I cut off a part of the top of the head just so I can slide it on top and get an idea of how the balloon was going to hug her body. And then I simply just cut the shape that I needed for her to have this fitted on. Obviously, because of how the costume is designed, and it has this opening, up front, the balloon, the latex would start slipping out, exposing her, her breasts. So I tried to avoid using glue as much as I could. But eventually, it was the only solution that I had to be able to have the latex stick and stay in place. So eventually, I just used a little dab of super glue to have the latex rest on her top and not have it slip out. The neck is also a piece of a piece of rubber from one of these. So again, the top consists of two parts. And as far as let's just call it the bikini loincloth bottom, I took, let's see, I believe what I did is I took one of this end of the balloon and basically shaped it. Obviously, I cut off the part. Let me see if I can recreate it. Where did I leave my? Give me 1 second. Okay, so basically, I just cut off, the fat end of the balloon and the tip, right? Okay, so we're left with this. From here, I basically cut it into the shape of a bikini bottom, you could say. So I'm not gonna do it exactly because to recreate it exactly how that piece came out was basically almost after a bunch of tries, right? Basically, what you do is just cut it into the shape of a bikini bottom. Okay, and then eventually you just try and fit the figure into it. And as you fit the parts, you're stretching out the let me see if I can recreate it here. As you're trying to fit the piece on top, the bottom just stretches out. Into something like this. Right. That's pretty much how it looks from the back. It has a very small piece covering her up. And then up front also, that's pretty much how it looks with a small, you could probably slide it. I believe that's what I did. I slid this part a little bit lower like this. And this piece a little bit higher. You could probably get better results with larger balloons. I don't know. But basically that's how I did that. The basic bikini bottom and the loincloth part, again, just taking scraps, cutting it into shape, and stretching out the latex until it rips naturally into the shape that it is right now. Now the bikini, the bottom, the loincloth bikini bottom is not glued on. That is just held on by friction and a prayer. If I move it a lot too much, the ends, the bikini sides, the stringy side will start sliding downwards down her hip. So, and The loincloth front is basically like tabbed. There's like a wing tip shape that I formed that is being held underneath the strap or the stringy end, however you want to call it. So that's basically how that is being held on. But as far as posability and everything, you can see how the latex looks right here by the knee, and you can see this is the seam that is a residual from the top half being underneath the lower half of the boot. But yeah, like I said, it almost looks like it's part of the design. It's just a wrinkle in the boot. And you can see how if you bend, the wrinkling part bends with with the um, the existing articulation points of the figure. Now you can see here how the rubber slid underneath. I had repaint. You can see how I painted black underneath, just to make sure where I wanted the boot to end. So all I have to do sometimes is do some correcting and lift and stretch the latex upwards. I probably cut it a little too short. Ideally, I probably would have cut it a little bit longer, right? But it's a lot of hard work getting it to slide into position and all of that. So it's I decided against going for a second or a third go around, but you can stretch it out, and there we go. Now it's over the line that I kept it, that I marked for it. And same for the ankle articulation. It hides the joint, the swivel, and when you bend it, it wrinkles almost like a real boot. And for the sleeve, you can see right here. I'm sorry. For the sleeve, again, all of this is one piece from the bicep to the wrist. I'm sorry. Let me just raise the camera a little bit. Okay. So as I was saying, for the arm, from the bicep to the wrist, it's all one piece. Oh wait, now I remember. It's all one piece from the wrist to the shoulder. I thought I had made it two pieces, but no, it's actually all one piece. The shoulder is the sleeve is all one piece. Because now I remember, because I wanted it to hide the bicep and the shoulder joint. Right. Now it makes sense. But basically, it's the same thing that I did with the boot. I cut the hole so that it would fit through the upper diaphragm into the shoulder socket, and then just the long piece. Obviously, the end here at the end, there's still some. It's not as tight, but that's fine. And then here we go backwards, and you can see how the bikini looks from the back. But let's see how I'll remove the head sculpt so that you can see how the top looks. Obviously, I did have to repaint the head sculpts to match the skin tone, because the original Goblin Queen, her skin tone is a little more pinkish. So I just gave my custom a more natural flesh color. And for the cape, it's the same cape as the original. All I had to do was since the jewel here is pegged into the upper torso. I didn't want to do that on my custom, so I just cut off the bottom where it plugs into, and just have the piece floating, being sustained here in place. All right, so give me 1 second while I put it back together. Before that, let me. I guess if you want to see the face, I just painted. Excuse me. I just painted around what was already there. I didn't have to repaint the eyes, the mouth, or anything. I carefully repainted the skin tone around the paint job that was already there. I didn't want to mess with it because I thought they did a great job with it. And of course, yes, I did have to add the nipples to her breasts. Okay, let me put her back together. Okay, so yeah, basically the idea came to me just as I was trying to figure out, if you recall, a few months back when I showed my custom of my Warbird slash Miss Marvel. I showed you guys some testing that I was doing with heat shrink wrap, or not heat shrink wrap, just yeah, heat shrink wrap for wires. Um, but the heat shrink tubing was a little too thick, or at least the one that I have. But I don't know if I'm pretty sure there's different density of heat shrink. But as I was thinking how I could do, because this custom is basically the idea that I had for my original Miss Marvel. I wanted to give her actual rubber boots and rubber sleeves. Um, and I'll probably now explore that idea further. Now that this custom came out looking pretty good, if I say so myself. Um, but yeah, that's basically it. So I was thinking, what could I use instead of heat shrink? And that's where the idea for the balloons came in. It was just a matter of finding the right ones. And obviously, I bought an entire pack of like how many come? 50 balloons, 50 of the long ones, 50 of the short round ones. And in testing and in creating this custom, I probably used up like 10 of each, because parts kept ripping, or I would make cuts where I shouldn't. And for instance, when putting on the bikini bottom, it would snap. So once I found a piece that would stay in place, and second, it would not rip, I didn't want to touch it anymore. So that's the piece that's staying on for now, until the vinyl, I'm sorry, the latex, falls apart with time. But yeah, basically that's it for this custom. Let me know what you guys think. You think I did a good job? Do you have any ideas for um, what else I could have used instead of the balloons? Um, I also thought about actual vinyl wrap for automobiles, but I believe that is also pretty thick material. But so yeah, that's why I ended up using the balloons, because it's practically the thinnest material that I could think of, that I could find for my purposes. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.